In this video, we'll learn about the process for requesting and receiving a grant from Southwest Minnesota Arts Council. Southwest Minnesota Arts Council, or SMAC, is a nonprofit that supports the arts in Southwest Minnesota through funding and technical services. We serve 18 counties and 2 tribal nations. We acknowledge that the Southwest Minnesota region occupies the traditional, ancestral, and contemporary lands of the Dakota people. We are one of 11 regional arts councils that cover the whole state of Minnesota and work together to get arts funding out into all corners of the state. Our funding comes from the Minnesota State General Fund, the Arts and Cultural Heritage or Legacy Fund, the McKnight Foundation, and regional memberships and donations. A grant is an award of money to an organization or individual to complete a specific project. The project will need to meet requirements around what SMAC is able to fund. In order to be considered for a grant, you'll need to submit an application in time for one of our deadlines, and the application should outline your proposed activities, expenses, and goals for the project. Not all applications are funded, so you'll need to score well enough in different criteria areas and will also need to have enough budget available. But if you are awarded, you'll need to sign a contract agreeing to use the funds as proposed within a specific time frame. You'll also need to report on outcomes and expenses when the project is finished. Where should you start if you are interested in a grant? First, you'll want to think about the kinds of activities involved in your project and the amount of funding you will need. Next, you'll take a look at our website to see what grants are available and choose the grant program that best fits your project and budget needs. Once you've chosen that grant program, you'll want to review the program guidelines to learn about eligibility requirements and how they might affect your project and request. Then determine which program deadline works best for your project timeline. There are many resources available on our website, swmnarts.org, to help you get started on your application. For each program, you'll find guidelines and criteria, dates, including when the funding decisions will be made, and application and report questions, whether you're just wanting to look ahead at those or get started on a draft. There are also instructional videos, such as how to use the online grant system, information on each grant program, and some grant writing topics like reaching underserved and underrepresented communities and grant goals and evaluation. You'll also find workshop opportunities, both virtual and in person. We also have some sample documents. For instance, you can see what a contract looks like, along with the credit lines and logos that you may need to be using. You'll also find a login to our online grant system and multiple ways to connect with SMAC staff. Once you're ready to begin an application, there are several ways to get help from SMAC staff. First, you could talk through your project before getting started, figure out if your project activities are eligible, and get guidance on the right grant program and deadline. As you're working on your application, if you run into questions, we can answer those for you, and SMAC staff can also do a review of your application before you submit it. Once you have completed a draft, email SMAC staff to request that review, and we can let you know if there is anything that you're missing, anything that might be confusing to the reviewers, and give you some general feedback. If you request the draft review at least 2 weeks before the deadline, we can guarantee that we're able to look at it for you. I'll also share a few grant writing tips. Make sure to give yourself plenty of time before the deadline. Again, if you'd like to allow time for that draft review, but also you'll be gathering materials from other people. Make sure that you read and answer the questions fully. Many of them have multiple parts to them. Also, keep your answers clear and concise using everyday language. The reviewers will be looking at content, not writing style or expertise. And assume the grant reviewers don't know anything about you or your project. They are coming from all around our region, so they may not be familiar with your programs or artwork. Once you've submitted your application, SMOC staff will review it for eligibility and completeness. If we find anything missing or any eligibility concerns at that stage, you'll have 48 hours to fix whatever that is. Then the group of applications from that round will go on to a panel of individuals from around our region who will read, discuss, and score the applications based on the criteria for the program. Then you may have some priority points added to your score. If you are a first-time applicant to us, if you are from or serve the BIPOC or LGBTQ or disability communities, or if you are from a county that hasn't received as much funding from SMOC recently. So your final scores will go on to our board of directors who make the final funding decisions, which usually involves going down the ranked list of applications until the budget runs out. After the board meets, you will be notified of the grant decision by email, and it will include panel comments about your application. If your grant is awarded, you will need to complete a grant contract within 30 days, and the contract includes your agreement to carry out the project as planned or have any changes approved in advance, and it will outline publicity and reporting requirements along with consequences for misusing funds or failing to submit a report. The payment of your full grant award will be issued after we receive your contract, and you'll have a choice to receive payment either by check or electronically. If your project has public-facing activities, you'll need to acknowledge the grant on all publicity and marketing materials. There will be a credit line in your grant contract that you'll need to use, and you may also need to include the Minnesota Legacy logo, depending on the source of funds that were awarded to you. All of the credit materials and information will be sent to you so you'll know what to do. We understand that projects don't always go as planned, so contact us if you need to make changes while your project is in progress. This might be something like the equipment you were planning to purchase is not available anymore, a venue or artist schedule changed, there's a personal emergency that is affecting the project. So we may be able to extend your project end date, approve new artistic personnel, approve changes to your budget, depending on what is happening with your project. But just make sure to ask about changes in advance as they arise, not after the fact, like when you're completing your report. You will receive a notification halfway through your grant period with some reminders and an opportunity to request any changes. You'll need to submit a final report 60 days after your project end date. When you are just getting started on your project, you'll want to check out what information you'll need to be gathering. Along with how things went in general, you'll need to report on project impact or outcomes, actual income and expenses, and depending on the type of grant you received, you may also need to provide receipts. You'll need to talk about what you did for promotion and grant acknowledgement, include audience numbers and demographics if applicable, and you'll also have the opportunity to provide photos or other media related to your project. Thanks for learning about the SMOC grant process. Please contact us with any questions or visit our website for more information.